So welcome back to Wednesdays with Nia. We announced that in our Q&A yesterday. So we are going to officially be doing Wednesdays with Nia each Wednesday, and that'll be posted the same time as our daily vlogs. I'm going to be speaking over breastfeeding today. I'm just going to talk about a few issues that are close to my heart, but first I want to share a little bit with you about my personal story with breastfeeding. Symphony was born about 3 weeks early, and she was taken to the nursery immediately after being born, and they gave her a bottle. I think that the combination of those two things caused us to have a rocky breastfeeding relationship. After about 2 months of trying my hardest, I decided to stop, and we went to formula. When Abram came along, I had such a bad experience with Symphony. At first, I was like, I'm not even gonna try it. I don't even want to give it a go. But then I became further and further along, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna at least try it. When it was time for Abram to be born, I was laying on the operating table, and they were getting ready to cut me open. And I was like, wait, actually, before we get this started, I want to speak to the nurse who's going to be taking care of Abram when he's born. And luckily, she was just standing right over there against the wall, really quiet, waiting for him to be born. And she's like, that's me. So I was like, can you come here for a second? And I told her my story with Symphony very briefly. I mean, like literally, they were about to cut me open, and I was like, wait a second. And so she came over, and I was like, I really, if everything is perfect with the baby, I want him with me to nurse before any of the tests are done, his measurements, everything. I want him taken to the room, and I want to nurse him. So they did that for me. She had him all wrapped up, took him to our room. He got to meet Daddy. They took him out of his little carrier and they gave him to me. And he nursed like a pro. I'm telling you, like he just latched on and went for it. I was like, yay! I was so happy and just overjoyed that he did so well. And when I saw how easily he latched on, I thought breastfeeding was gonna be a breeze, a walk in the park. I was like, this is easy, I can do this is great. Boy, was that wrong, because we got home and he started hitting growth spurts, and he stopped sleeping so long, and it got harder and harder, and it was just difficult. The first topic that I want to touch on for breastfeeding is the way society handles it. So when I first started realizing that I've had some issues with nursing, you know, I didn't know that it was normal for him to eat so often. I didn't know anything. I was a new nursing mom. I reached out to the support groups that they have on Facebook. Do you guys have those in your areas? Well, we do. There's several that I'm a part of. I think 3 different breastfeeding groups that I'm a part of. So I reached out and I asked my questions, I gave my concerns, and unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of love back. You know, I felt very stupid for most of the questions that I asked. Kind of like what I touched on last week in my vlog about the cell phone thing. You know, we should just be supportive of one another. We should not undermine one another and leave other moms feeling dumb. Society tells you that you should be like just this perfect breastfeeder. And I learned of a term while on these group sites called EBF. Now, in case you don't know, EBF means exclusively breastfed. And that means that they only have breast milk, nothing else. Baby food, water, juice, nothing. Snacks, nope, only breast milk. And according to a lot of people out there, a lot, like 95% of what I saw on the internet, you should EBF. And let me just tell you that you don't have to. It's okay if you don't. If you feel like your baby needs a supplement, then you supplement, and don't worry what everyone else is thinking or saying to you. If you think that you should stop breastfeeding and give formula, then that's probably what you should do. Because our mother's intuition tells us what's best for ourselves or our babies. Okay, so the second thing that I want to touch base on as far as breastfeeding goes is obviously breastfeeding in public. First, I want to say that as a nursing mom, at first I was just appalled that it was so difficult to breastfeed in public. It was so embarrassing for me. Even though I had cover-ups and stuff, it was just horribly embarrassing. I do want to talk about, though, discreetly nursing in public. The first time I did it, Abram was about 2.5 months old. I was at Chick-fil-A with my best friend Sandy, and I had just finished nursing him in a bathroom stall. I always nursed in bathroom stalls or in my car for the first 2 months of Abram's life. I come out from the bathroom stall, I'm sitting down to finish my meal, and I look over, and there's this lady nursing her twins with no cover in public. I just was in awe at this lady, and I thought it was amazing that she could do that. She looked so confident, like it didn't even faze her. She was eating her meals, she was talking to her friends, she had it going on. And I was like, I've got to talk to this lady. Her name is Heather. Hey Heather, you know, she just gave me some encouragement on being a confident breastfeeder in public. So that day after Chick-fil-A, we had to run to Target for some stuff, and I knew that Abram was going to need to nurse. You know, he was fairly young, like 2.5 months old, and I knew he was going to need to nurse frequently. And so he got upset, and I took him to the bathroom. And I turned around and went back to Sandy, and I was like, no, I am not going to feed him in a bathroom anymore. Do you care? Does it embarrass you if I nurse him in public? And she was like, no girl, go ahead. So I had a blanket on me. I just hooked him on, covered up, and I walked around Target for like half an hour nursing Abram. And it was amazing. It felt so liberating, and from that point on, breastfeeding got 1,000 times easier for me. For those of you who are worried about discreetly nursing in public, those of you who just feel like it's embarrassing, it's too much, you don't want to get talked down to or kicked out of somewhere, don't worry about it. Pray about it. Ask someone who's close to you just to be supportive of you, and just go out there and do it. You're gonna feel so good about yourself when you do. The last topic that I want to touch on about breastfeeding is the support system you have. To me, it is so vitally important to have a good support system. I can tell you that I would not have been able to do this without Sam. There were nights that when Abram wasn't sleeping, I just wanted to cry. I did cry. You know, I was frustrated, I was upset, and you know, he would just listen to me. And I'm sure you men understand, it's hard to listen to a woman just cry about the same thing often, or whine or complain the next day about being tired from it. My husband showed me a new side of himself when I had Abram and I was breastfeeding. He would tell me what a good job I was doing, even though the baby could just be sitting there screaming and I just got through feeding him. He was just so supportive. I also, you know, I spend a lot of time with my best friend Sandy, and her support meant more to me than she'll ever know. You know, she really was my cheerleader to get out there and just discreetly nurse in public. And without that, I don't know that I would have been able to do it. The most important support system that you can have, or that you can be, is the parents. You know, as a new mom, I remember just wanting my mom to be so proud of my every move as a mother, and my mother-in-law. I wanted them to just see me succeed and be confident in every area of mothering. So if your little girl is about to have a baby, or perhaps she already has, just realize that your little girl is doing everything to make you proud. And if your support is not there, then her confidence level is going to be way down there. I remember telling my mom when she was over one day, I was like, I just want you to hold me in your rocking chair. I'm going to cry talking about it. I was like, I just want you to rock me in your chair until I fall asleep. And it just, you know, it just means so much to us as mothers to see our mothers be proud of us. Anyways, thanks for listening to me talk about breastfeeding. I'm going to be done for the day. Like I said earlier, if you have any questions or issues that you would like me to touch on, just leave them in the comment section below. Y'all are awesome. Y'all have become kind of like a second family for us, and I want to take your suggestions before we go to Twitter or Facebook. I'll see you again next Wednesday. Guess I'll actually see you tomorrow on the vlog for Thursday. But anyways, you guys have a great Wednesday.
Different watering cans, Daddy.
Oh,
So different.
those are so different.
They look so different, Mommy. Oh, this one doesn't look like our other one.
It doesn't. That one's a tin watering can.
Yeah, tin.